Hello, my name's Tommy Lee Schmuder and I've been thinking about getting a heat pump installed at my home and also at the unit that we are doing this filming in today. Now, me being from the heating industry but knowing more about boilers than clearly what I know about heat pumps, I thought before I move ahead with my journey to get these heat pumps installed in my properties, I'm going to invite two people from the industry that know a lot more about heat pumps than I. So over to Tom and Michael to just briefly explain who they are and where they are from.
Nice to meet you, Tom.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Before, haven't we?
Thank you for coming along and helping me understand more about heat pumps.
You're welcome, mate. So I'm Tom from Somerset. We have a plumbing and heating company, and we are currently in the process of moving into heat pumps.
Yep.
We've been learning a lot about it, and obviously I'm here to help answer any questions, along with this absolute genius.
Well, what you was going to say? I thought you was going to comment on my hair colour then.
You got a hat on today.
Yes. Yeah, I'm Michael. Company's Option Energy Solutions, based near Brighton in a village called Stenning. And yeah, I've been installing heat pumps for a few years regularly. I love them.
So what you didn't comment on there is what kind of, one of the main reasons why I invited you along is you are one of the geekiest heat pump installers in the UK that's been nominated for awards. Can you just tell us a little bit more about where you're at?
Yeah,
with
last year won Most Sustainable Installer South for the Installer Awards. So that's nice. So I won an award. I didn't just get nominated, Tommy.
You won it.
I won an area of the award, so that's brilliant. Career highlight.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do nerd out on them. I think you need to. I think there's it's a new technology, isn't it? Not many people even know how they work, really, do they? And we're all sometimes the manufacturers struggle to get across exactly how they work, and I think the industry as a whole is trying to get their heads around how they work best, what the best practices are to install them. So it's a good time because everybody's sharing information. There's no like absolutely 100% confirmed best way. There's still like a lot of debate about what's the best. What products are good? A lot of products are new, best methods, and there's
a lot more variables involved with a heat pump compared to which combi boiler is going in the property.
Well, if you looked at a combi boiler when they first came out, there was quite a lot of horrific models, wasn't there? Like the Alpha Ocean, just leak everywhere, and there was all sorts of other boilers. There was a lot of unreliable boilers in that range, and then they kind of all converged on a settled design. That's kind of how it works in innovation, isn't it? You get like all this, the heat pumps are taking different ways now, maybe different types of controls, and boilers had like different structures in them, didn't they? Combination boilers with diaphragm, diverter valves, and all this sort of stuff, and then they kind of converged on a single design, and everything's like quite beige now, isn't it? It's like most of the boilers are just like different versions of each other.
Pretty much. A little bit different technology in each one of them.
Yeah.
Different screen.
Yeah, but it is kind of converging on like a dominant design. And heat pumps are established, but I think people are still trying to, there's massive differences if you look at sort of like a Samsung and compare it to like a Wiesmann. The difference between them is vastly different to comparing a Wiesmann boiler to a Vocera.
I think in the fundamentals of it, they're still, in theory, still going to be doing the same thing because of the process of, collecting the heat from the air. They're in a white box, different sizes. They look like an air conditioning unit. So they're very, very similar in that respect. It's just the internals and how it moves and works, and the control side of things. The controls are huge, aren't they?
So for the sake of anybody else that, I have a small advantage that I've had 20 years in the heating industry. but I'm still an absolute beginner when it comes to heat pumps, and I'm confident in saying that a lot of people that may be watching this video at any point over the next couple of years will be at the same stage as me. You know, we've seen all the media saying good things and saying bad things about heat pumps, and many people, many families such as myself, who would wanting to do something good for, you know, for the country, for the world, for our kids. But I'm just going to start with the most basic question to take this series of videos forward. What is an air source heat pump? Can we narrow that down into what it is, what's new about it, how does it compare to, say, gas, oil boilers that we've been using for the last 20, 30 years, and how does it compare to, say, air conditioning units?
I think I'll just touch on the basics really, in respect of they look like an air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
They function very similar to an air conditioning unit and use refrigerant. I think from a perspective of a homeowner, they basically are an air conditioning unit in reverse, or a fridge in reverse. Yeah, and that's the gist of it. Within a nutshell, there's obviously lots of stuff in design side of things that's going to come into it, but if you want to elaborate on that, that's the basic sort of, you know, scratch at the surface.
You know, they said, you know, 90% of new boilers are combis. Mm-hmm. It's a similar thing with heat pumps. You know, 90%, probably more, heat pumps installed are air source heat pumps.
Yeah.
You know, you got your heat pump, which is, well, it is basically exactly the same as the air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
That's a heat pump.
Yeah.
But it's an air to air heat pump, whereas we're talking like air to water heat pumps. You know.
Right.
You know, the air source, the source of its heat is the air.
Yep.
And the heat pump is the internal workings. Basically, like it sucks in the air, goes over the evaporator coil, boils the refrigerant, which has got a super low boiling point. That turns to vapour, gets squeezed by the compressor. Yeah. Then that comes out at a higher temperature into a condenser, which is plate heat exchanger, basically, refrigerant one side, water the other side. That gets pumped out by a circulation pump into the building, and then because you've extracted the heat, comes down as cooler liquid back into an expansion valve, which sort of turns it back into vapour, back into the evaporator to get
Heat.
reboiled by the air, kind of thing. So that's
And to the radiators.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the circulation
hot
pump
water, yeah.
circulates it out of the condenser into the radiators.
It's not instant hot water that's coming out of the air source heat pump either. It's not like a combi boiler. You can switch a tap on and it comes out. You've got to have a hot water tank internally.
So it's a bit like when I was growing up in the 80s, there was a hot water cylinder, or the airing cupboard, which is, you know, all the
Traditional airing cupboard.
all the towels that
Yeah.
go in there, and you know that anything that came out of the airing cupboard was toasty warm, yeah, and there was some big metal thing in there that if you got too close to it could burn you a little bit.
Did you get rid of that?
Well, this was 80s. I'm sorry. I'm going back to my childhood there. So, are we going to need this again? Are we going back to that now?
With the pressurised hot water cylinders now that we're fitting with air source heat pumps, so obviously you're going to have better water pressure, and they're really well insulated as well.
So I'm not going to burn.
No, you're not burning. You're
Myself.
still going to get some heat radiating off it, but it's going
Yeah.
to be completely different to what you expected from back then.
Uh-huh.
So they've got an insulation around the whole of it. So there obviously certain regulations they've got to meet now as well.
Yeah.
So, and the idea is you want to try and warm them ideally in off-peak tariffs if you can. Or what was the
Oh,
name?
water cylinder.
Yeah, what was the name? What was the name? It's time of use.
Time of use tariffs, yeah.
Time of use tariffs.
Yeah, most famous ones like Octopus Agile, is it? Or Octopus do some ones overnight. They're really cheap. But yeah, everyone who's taken their hot water cylinder out of the airing cupboard, got a combi, and they thought, oh, look at this, we can now extend our bathroom into the airing cupboard space. Well, sorry, you've got to find a hot water cylinder you've got to find space for a hot water cylinder again. So we're kind of going back to
Stored energy.
to what we was
Yeah.
before. the era of like instant high power is now gone, and we're starting to think, okay, energy over a long period of time. How are we going to store that? And you know, are we going to sort of, with time of use tariffs, you know, you can then leverage that, because you know, that sort of stuff wasn't an option when you're getting instantaneous hot water, is it?
Got you. Okay, I think I've got that covered.
Yeah.
Aircon unit in reverse, but now we're not just getting instant hot water, we're going to have to get the hot water cylinder back somewhere.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Exactly that. Yeah.